Hello everyone, you're about to hear a short recap of the film Ghost Killer. Enjoy watching. She was just an ordinary college girl until a vengeful hitman's ghost took over her body. Hitman Kudo fights 3 knife-wielding opponents. He emerges victorious from this difficult battle, slaughtering all his attackers. However, an unknown assassin shot him in the back. The murder scene was immediately cleaned up. Only a shell casing remained on the road, which passers-by kicked around the city. Next, we meet student Fumika. After working her shift at a cafe, she went to meet a blogger, but his manager showed up instead. The man turned out to be a rather nasty character and, of course, started hitting on her. "I've got some muscle, want to touch it? It's really beefy." Fumika decided it would be easier to get through the evening if she got really drunk. The student wanted to knock this bore out, but her upbringing prevented her from doing so. While climbing the stairs, a drunk girl fell and stumbled upon the very same shell casing. For some reason, she picked it up and suddenly saw the moment the shot was fired. Her friend Maha was waiting at the door to Fumika's apartment. As usual, the girl had been beaten by her boyfriend and was seeking comfort from her friend. However, Fumika was no longer alone. A creepy man in bloody clothes was standing in the kitchen. She quickly realized that the intruder was a ghost and only she could see him. In an instant, the ghost disappeared. Maha received a call and she hurried away, leaving her friend alone. It didn't matter that she left. What was he talking about? Fumika fell to the floor in terror. The ghost tried to help her and grabbed her arm. From that moment on, Fumika's body was divided between 2 personalities, one of which was not quite alive. The girl was outraged by such impudence and asked the man to leave her, and surprisingly he obeyed. But he wasn't about to leave his new acquaintance. Fumika ran as fast as she could until she saw her friend being harassed by her nasty boyfriend again. "Maybe you saw something, but that's just between the 2 of us." Yosuke dragged Maha to his home, and nothing good awaits her there. Kudo offered the student to punish this scoundrel. She just needed to take the ghost's sand to gain his power. "What will you do if you possess me?" "I'll punish him." Fumika initially refused, but finally decided to take him by the hand. Having obtained the girl's body, the killer kicked her in the leg. He tried to take it out on his friend again, but Fumika twisted his arm and hit him in the face. It turned out that hitting him was pretty painful too. "Now, I've definitely killed you." Kudo left the girl's body too early. Yosuke threw her down on the pavement and began to strangle her. Unfortunately, she is now unable to reach the ghost's hand. But Maha hit her boyfriend on the head with a cinder block. Her friend realized Fumika was seeing someone, and she didn't deny it. "No one sees him. And I told you I really am a ghost." Anyway, she was only able to beat the bastard because she was possessed. Fumika figured out on a website that ghosts can be exorcised with salt, but she just messed up the cafe for nothing. Where did he explain how he appeared in Fumika's life? She picked up a shell casing from the gun that killed him. And to exorcise the ghost, she needs to kill the killer. Kudo revenge will release his anger. Fumika has no intention of doing anything like that, so she'll try to simply ignore the ghost. "I'm screwed, I'd rather possess the soldier." Fumika went to the bar again, this time to meet the blogger himself. He has a whopping 70,000 subscribers. Fumika would like to work with him and gain experience. However, in real life, he turned out to be quite the idiot. So the girl hurried out of the establishment, but as soon as she got up from her chair, Fumika almost fell to the floor. Those jerks slipped something into her drink. Norumi laughs. The drug worked faster than usual today. However, Fumika doesn't want to lose consciousness. It turns out the killer knew what the blogger was doing. The organization he worked for sells these pills to rapists, including Norumi. That's why Kudo had time to warn the girl of the danger. "Your Qatar is rotten, I hope you all die." "I told you I'm already dead." "Shut up." Fumika could have simply not gone, but she wanted to punish the criminals. By the way, the bartender is in league with the rapists. He was the one who put the sleeping pill in the drink. Fumika initially suggested the scoundrel surrender to the police, but they only laughed at the naive student. Then she will act the hard way. Kudo regained his body and slowly went on the attack. He knocked the manager to the floor and started to smash his face into a steak. Oh my god. What's next? Shut up or you'll bite your tongue. Kudo grabbed an ice pick, but Fumika wasn't planning on killing anyone, so the hitman replaced it with a cocktail shaker. Blogger Narumi was knocked out. Now they needed to deal with the karate bartenders. The girl's punches were too weak, so Kudo had to use more force than usual. Fumika armed herself with a dart and drew blood, then began to strangle him. Wait, he's not there yet. With your little hands it'll take about 30 seconds. Having dealt with the criminals, Fumika burst into tears. She was terrified of doing all this with her own hands. Kudo asked the girl to call his friend. Kagehara was also a hitman, but only he could help them clean up. After a while, a young man entered the establishment. I need to somehow explain to him what's going on here. Kudo has become a ghost and is now possessing me. I hate stupid jokes more than anything in the world. Kagehara pulled out a knife to stab the prankster, but Kudo possessed the body again. The student is still unable to defeat his teacher. Kagehara began cleaning up. He placed the 4 bodies in containers and drove them somewhere. The killer explained that their boss had recently died and now his scumbag son was running the organization. Kudo wasn't happy with the changes, which is probably why they got rid of him. The 4 criminals were brought to the warehouse right here, where he carried out all the executions and torture. Kagehara handed the girl a gun, but she won't participate. You've already taught them a lesson. Let them go when it comes to corruption. I have no equal, it's better for you not to see this. The 4 suffered quite a bit before they died, and after the execution, Fumika was finally able to return home. The girl thanked the dead killer. After all, he had helped her out a few times that day. The killer enjoyed doing good deeds even in death. Meanwhile, the new boss was enjoying himself with a game of bowling. True, he was breaking the balls of his 6 with his bowling ball. It was this guy who dismembered and hid Kudo's body. He got rid of the body somewhere. I don't care. I want to see if he can withstand 50 straights. When Kagehara entered, the bandit had finally been finished off. The commotion was caused by the information that Kudo was alive. Kagehara honestly told the truth. Masaki decided that his subordinate was either mocking or covering for the still living killer. Suddenly another boss showed up with his gang. He accused Masaki of killing his men. By that time, the young gangster had managed to hire the best assassin in all of Japan. Katsura led the entire gang into the next room and dealt with them in 10 seconds. Kagehara, I don't trust you anymore, quote. Kagehara told his boss where the student Kudo had allegedly possessed lived. The ghost had sensed the assassin's approach in advance. He should have planted the mines. I can't. What if my neighbor steps on them? By the time the door was broken down, Fumika had already handed over her body to the killer. Katsura saw the muzzle flashes and entered the room. But instead of the student's body, he found the beaten bandits. Kudo brought the girl back to the warehouse. Kagehara was already waiting there. Fumika took out all of the supplies and she gave the killer the middle finger. Kagehara pulled out a pistol, but Kudo instantly disarmed him. Another fight broke out between him and the student, and Kagehara was once again unable to defeat the teacher. Suddenly the boy confessed that he had killed Kudo because his master had ordered it, and he was simply a loyal dog. Kudo only now remembered their last conversation. It was he who had persuaded the student to shoot, otherwise he would have been killed.
Now I remember.
I thought my heart would stop, but he was heavy. I'm scared.
Kagehara noticed that the teacher had changed under the influence of the girl. In the lair, the young boss was raging. After all, 4 bandits hadn't been able to cope with some girl. Katsura was about to execute them all, but Masaki stopped him and again gave the order to find Fumika. The student thought, why not just destroy the entire organization? That way, they would avenge the destruction of her apartment, and of course they would also get revenge from Kudo. Kagehara reluctantly agreed, although it would be difficult to implement. Kudo promised the girl that she would escape the lair alive. He doesn't want to ruin another life. The ghost runs ahead, warning Fumiko of danger every time. They found the armory, and where did he ask his partner? To gather the entire arsenal. I can't take everything. Put it in your pockets. It's time to hand over the body to the killer. Kagahara conducted reconnaissance and discovered that there were 20 armed militants at the base. Together with the teacher, they went on the attack and began picking off one bandit after another. When almost nothing remained of the gang, Katsura finally entered the battle. He would be much harder to deal with. Fumika dropped her pistol. All she had left was a knife. Kudo would find out where the killer was, and when the girl was behind him, he would possess her again. Katsura entered the room. The ghost now commanded the student from a distance. Having waited for the perfect moment, Fumika handed over her body to the killer. But Katsura was too good and wouldn't let himself be stabbed so easily. A fight for survival began. Kush had never faced such a strong opponent, and he had to be extremely careful not to harm the girl's body. The knife ended up on the ground. The protracted fight devolved into pure fist fighting. At one point, Katsura broke Fumiki's rib. Defense became more difficult. The nimble killer leapt at his opponent, grabbed him, and began tearing out the damaged rib. Kudo broke free, but a few seconds later, Katsura kicked him in the weak spot. Then a powerful high kick landed on his jaw, knocking him unconscious. Fumika, however, came to her senses and realized the killer was about to strangle her. And willing to die, she struck Katsura with the back of the head and followed up with an elbow before passing the baton back to Kudo. This time he managed to knock out the killer. Katsura surprisingly quickly came to his senses and got back on his feet, but he was accidentally shot by that idiot. Masaki Fumiko was supposed to be next, but Kogahara showed up and tossed the teacher a gun. He shot the thug in both knees. Ellipsis exclamation mark. Who the hell are you? I'm a student. Pay my rent. That bastard of a former boss executed Kogahara. Only now did Fumika realize how much pain she was in and how fed up she was with the gang warfare. She headed for the exit, and this time Kudo didn't follow her. Where to? What can I say? Where to? Where to? Fumika realized where he had gone, and she could finally return to her normal life. I'll transfer the money for the apartment renovations. We won't meet again. Goodbye.